Francois du Toit, founder and director of PROpulsion, a man with a vision and a man who does not stop working ever. Or that's what it looks from this side, at least, Francois.
I think my wife would agree with you, Rianet.
Yeah, no, it does look like you never stop. So you are on a mission. We spoke about the fact that the same for you as it is for me is it never feels like work. Because we have a goal and we have a plan. So it's a privilege and an honor to have a situation like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really grateful for that every single day, because it could have been, I've been in positions where I had to do work and I had to work and it was all about the work and the money. Now I'd like those things. I think I said to you earlier, I don't even look at the bank account. That's my wife's problem. But I am focused on what we're building and what we're trying to achieve long term in terms of the impact we want to have and the change we want to help bring about, and how we just want to make things better for everybody. That's really what we're about. And it's, the more I do it, the more I feel, I'm being driven from my heart and not from any strategy or anything like that. So it's a tough place to be.
Yeah.
I get emotionally very invested into things, but it is an absolute blessing and a privilege to be able to do that.
Yeah. So well done. We need a lot more people like you.
Thank you.
So I want to specifically talk about the Global Financial Planning Conference that's happening on 16 and 17 May. I want to hear what that's all about. And I would like to ask you just a few questions on some of the finer detail around it. So I think let's start. We had a chat about this in the past, but for those who don't know what you do, please explain what the Global Financial Planning Conference is all about, who can take part, where you are in terms of the 2023 conference. Just speak, please.
100%. Yeah, there's loads to say about the Global Financial Planning Conference, but at the heart of the Global Financial Planning Conference is the people that go through our Speaker and Influencer program. It's the International Speaker and Influencer program, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but that's really the outcome of that program. So we are doing our very utmost best and working hard to change the face of financial planning conferences globally. So not only in South Africa, but everywhere. When you go to a conference, it's the same people on the stage or the same conversations, the same themes, the same everything. And what we're doing with Global Financial Planning Conference is that we're mixing it up. So there's brand new faces, people you would have never heard of before, but people who are financial planners and advisors from across the world. I think there's like 4 countries and over 70 speakers that's taking part. And they each do a 10-minute slide-free talk. So there's no slides. It's 10 minutes. It's quick. It's energetic. It's very interesting because they share a lot of personal stories from clients, their own views and all different things. And some of them do get into the financial planning side of things. So there's really we usually, by the time we set the agenda, we have about 6 themes that run throughout the 2 days. So it's a 2-day conference. It's completely virtual. It's completely live. All our events that we do are virtual only. That's sort of where we specialize. But it's really aimed at, changing the face. So we're very much about, and we can talk about this with the speaker and influencer, but we have got very strict criteria and sort of who gets to go through that program. Mm-hmm. And it's a rigorous program. So, in the past 3 years, or this is the 3rd year, in the past 2 years, it's been an incredible experience. The feedback from people attending has been absolutely fantastic. And hence we're back again. And we will be back next year as well. We know that already. So, happy and excited for that.
Yeah. People who listen to this interview might want to understand, and I think you've explained it already, but maybe you can touch on that again. What is the main difference between your conference, which also says Financial Planning Conference, and the FBI Financial Planning Conference? Give us a summary.
Yeah, so one day call, there's still a convention, but the main difference is the value proposition. It's a completely different experience. For one, we are exclusively online, so we don't do it in person at all. It's also global, so it's not just local. And it's people from all over, and it's literally just 10-minute talks, one after the other. So that's the big difference. So we don't set a theme for the conference. What happens is that people go through the Speaker and Influencer program. They then create their talks and choose their titles, and then we get that. So at the moment, we're busy going through the process of putting all of that together to come up with a theme for this conference. So whereas mostly the other conferences would start with that and then go look for speakers and go look for topics, etc. We do it the other way around, because this is about giving a stage to people who are new to public speaking, but who have been very well trained by international coaches. And, so it's a completely different experience. So I would say that our conference is a lot more about sort of personal growth and insights and hearing new messages and sort of experiencing also what financial planners like, people listening to this probably are experiencing on a daily basis, but not just in South Africa, also globally. And I think that's the big difference. So this is for financial planners conference, basically. I think I would summarize that as.
Yeah, a day in the life of, typically something you would want to show your kids if they're keen on doing that as a career. I think that would give them an amazing view of what this is all about.
Absolutely.
This is your third year. What is new this year? And how do you manage to keep people online? Once again, I think I've got the answer because of the fact that you really have got the variety of themes, and people might have an interest in some things more than others. But what do you see? What have you picked up in the last 2 years, and what is different this year?
Yeah, so there's a few things that we do to keep people engaged. Now this year, the brand new thing is the new platform we will use to host the event, because in the previous 2 years, it was very low key. Like we produced everything via the live streaming software and YouTube behind a login, because obviously you've got to buy tickets to attend, but then there was a login. But it was literally a YouTube video live stream that's embedded behind a login. That was the experience. So if you wanted to comment and engage, you had to do that on YouTube itself. This year we have a proper online, like we've had for our last event.
That was solid tech. I wanted to compliment you on that. That was one of the best platforms for virtual conferences I've ever seen. So well done on that. So people can look forward to a great engaging experience.
Absolutely. So we're using the same platform, same management team, everything. So we introduced the guys from the UK, because we're not doing this on our own, by the way. I think I did not mention that. Let me just mention that this was a baby born, or an idea born in the UK. Our sister sort of community over there and people we work with very closely is Nextgen Planners. So it was Adam Owen's initial idea, or the group of people there under Adam that had this idea. When I saw this, I said, like, whoa, this needs to come to South Africa. And then when I spoke to Rianet Whitehead from ProfileMe, she got involved and we hosted this. And from there, we just started bringing this to South Africa together. So it's PROpulsion and ProfileMe basically hosting the South African leg, and then Nextgen doing the rest of the stuff. But it's a whole global collaboration actually to make this happen. So so because we do it together, there's this absolute, like, incredible, I would say, sharing of ideas behind the scenes. So we've got this platform, we've got the events management company helping us, plus everybody that, when we engage with the speakers and we engage with them, we are sort of doing little things that they can do to keep people engaged. But the biggest thing that are keeping people online, two things really, and I hate to say the one. The one is because we give CPD.
That's my line too, no worries.
That's the sneaky one. But the other one is because it is so fluid and because it is one after the other. And it's not that you have to sit there for the entire thing. The new platform makes it possible for us to track CPD in a completely different way. And the thing is that the CPD won't be, it's not going to go, oh, this talk is technical and that one is ethics and that one. It will just be general CPD probably. We're still waiting for the approval, but it has been in concept that it would qualify for CPD. But my suspicion is that it would be general, and I hope that Lonnie doesn't kill me for saying that out loud. But it would be general CPD, so there won't be technical or ethics or anything like that. But it does mean that you can watch and stop and come back, and you can decide, I want to watch that talk and that talk and that talk. You don't have to watch everything. It just means you won't get all the points, but we can allocate points based on how long you watched, and we can track all of that. So that's the amazing thing from there. So I would say those are really the two reasons. So CPD on the one hand, but the other thing is that it's so interesting to listen to these people and the stories. And because it's 10 minutes, and we also have regular breaks in between, that will make sure that people don't get fatigued and they can have a coffee and return phone calls and do things like that as well.
Yeah, that's amazing. What have you picked up as the hot topics over the last 2 years? What's the stuff? Well, I can say 3 years because you probably have got the new topics already. What's the stuff people really want to talk about and hear about in the conference?
So it's very interesting. I think things have shifted dramatically over the last year, to be honest. So the first 2 years was pretty much the same. I think initially everybody starts out like, I've got to talk about financial planning. And because like it's the Global Financial Planning Conference, and it's everything but that. When you really get to the end and you decide this is what I want to talk, because this is a lot more about storytelling, about inspiring and motivating as well. So, what we find is that a lot of people will go down that route. And a theme that I see emerging for this year, and I haven't seen all the titles and everything yet, but what is definitely emerging is that there is this big realization around the fact that money isn't the client, but the person is the client. And one of the big things, particularly if there's one thing, and I want to say this, it's quite interesting that there's certain people that would really take this opportunity and make the most out of it. So it is one to get their message out and make other advisors aware, but also they use it as a basis to go on and also inform consumers and clients and so forth. So the things that they talk about is really like, wow. I mean, there's one in particular that I'm not going to give it away, that is really sort of sharing from a personal experience point of view, but also from all of her experience over the years, what she's seeing with clients, and she's identified where we are missing the point. And the way that she conveys this and the way that she explains this is just phenomenal, because she does it. She's got such a nice temperament. She's got such a nice way of speaking, and she's got these little words that she came up with to identify these different things. And I think she's going to be one of the standouts. Not like everybody's got their shot, but I'm really looking forward to that. So I can see that people are like, again, personal experience. So there's things that happened to them, and then they went on to do this and what they learned and now do it for clients. There's also some of it that's looking at the profession and the industry to say, well, this is what it looks like. This is what we need to do to change it, etc. And then there's just motivational things as well in between. And here and there, you've got something that's technical in nature, I would say. But I think people are starting to talk a lot more about how do I better help my client and not focus so much on the technical side of stuff. Now, we all know that because like there's such a big conversation going on about the human side of advice and the psychology of financial planning and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of that coming. So I won't say it is a buzz thing at the moment, but I think there's a genuine realization, because like the way we pick these people to go through the program is like we look at their backstory, we look at what is their motivation, what is their reason. So all of them are coming from this is not because it's fashionable to say. This is because of something they've experienced and now want to get that out to the world. And I think that's what we look forward to this year.
Let's touch on your speaker and influence program that you referred to. You have sort of told people what it's all about. So when you talk about speaker and influence, and that's something that we also spoke about in the past, some people might think that they don't want to do it because they'll never be a public speaker. They'll never be an influencer. But I think your program is good for the normal person who has to go and sit in front of a client, in front of a board, that confidence that you build, how you approach it to speak to people. Your comment on that?
Yeah, you're hitting the nail on the head. It's actually not about that talk you do, that 10-minute slide-free talk. It's actually about learning to put together your message and to craft your message and to understand, what to put in and what to leave out. Because sometimes you have 5 minutes, sometimes you have 10, sometimes an hour. And those things would then influence the way that you put together your message. And then there's obviously the delivery part of it. And I think specifically today, that helps a lot with this program, or that helps the participants in this program or the thing that they maybe take away from this program is that we do everything virtually, or a lot more virtually. So whether it's meetings like this or whether it is a meeting with a client, it helps you, because we talk about how do you connect virtually with people. We talk about the emotional side of this, like, think about mindset and the impact on you emotionally of doing these kind of things over and above the crafting the message and all of that. So it's a very powerful program to help anybody. So you don't need the voice. You don't need all you need is the commitment and the will to do this and know why you want to do this. That's it, right? If I can just quickly add on, Rianet, one thing that I realized in December, I was scrolling through LinkedIn and I was seeing how many of the people that went through our program are now on TV and on radio, and that have gone on and started podcasts, and they're out there, they're on social. And when they went through the program, there's a couple of them that I had to phone in because I wanted to drop out and say, no, you can't, because I see potential, you can't drop out. Yeah. And luckily they didn't. And there was a few of them who even on the day of Global Financial Planning Conference said to me, like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Like, and yet when they get to the other side, there's something that happens, and they go on and they I don't say some of them conquer the world. Some of them just have, like, suddenly there's new fire and they see they can do something else. But that's the power, and that's why we do it. So we're trying to empower people to go forth and spread their message, in their way, in a way that's comfortable for them. So we're not trying to turn everybody into a Tony Robbins or a Douglas Kruger, for that matter. We just want people to be able to spread their message in an impactful way, and that's really what the program is about.
And confidently, because that's one thing we often see, like with the insurance apprentice, confidence sometimes lack, and that can make a big difference in how you convey your message at the end.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing that is important is that, when we go through the process, because if you think about it, in the first year when we did this, when I first phoned you and I said, like, is it possible for us to talk about this? We had 25 people who applied, right, from South Africa. And then last year we had 69.
Yo,
and this year, 145 this year. And that was the incredible thing, so this thing is gaining popularity, but it also means, because we've only got 30 spaces, so we only choose 15 men, 15 women, so it's gender balanced, and we choose 30. So the competition to get in is getting stronger and stronger, and it means that the quality obviously then goes up as well. So you really got to put up your hand. It's a fully sponsored program, so you don't pay a cent, but there's a proper application process. You don't just get in. It's not first come, first in. There's a process, and that's what we're proud of. So it's high quality.
And what do you see in terms of from the start to now, in terms of application-wise? Are they still all people in the financial planning and advisory industry? And in terms of levels, what do you see? And obviously, applications, I know you choose 15, but what do you see in terms of applications? How has there been a bit of a shift over the 3 years?
Yeah,
the type of people that apply.
Yeah, so it's mostly financial advisors and financial planners, but they are from all over, and a lot of them are new to the profession as well. Okay. We've got people who are much older and has been around for a long time, so we really have a good spread between the new ones and the more experienced ones, and there's a very good split between. As I said, like when we went through the application, so we assess them anonymously, so we don't know whose application is good. So we take out all of that detail. All we see is the questions and the answers. And then based on that, this panel that goes through it, and then we decide. And some people may have to go through an interview process even as well. But that's the basis for choosing them. And it's funny when you start going through all of these, you can see it immediately jumps out at you when somebody is saying what's fashionable and what's now top of mind, because they use the same words, the same, like you can see there's no me in it. It's just, this might be the right thing to say. It's funny when you get to number 10 that you've seen that and you realize, oh, I've seen this now, and I think that's on the one hand. But if you look at it, because one of the questions, for example, we ask is, when life is going to get in the way, there's going to things that'll happen that you didn't foresee. How are you going to make sure that you make it, that you will see it through, and that you will finish this? And that's where a big part of the judgment goes to, is because it depends on, we look at how much does somebody write. Are you really putting in the effort to complete this application properly? And are you speaking from your heart? Or is this, because some people just go one sentence, I go read immediately, like we don't even look at it. Because if you're not putting in the effort to get in, then I'm convinced that you won't do the effort to see it through, right? And then when things get tough, it's easy to pull out. And we have lost a couple of them that was in. I think there's 3 or 4 that have pulled out, but because of valid reasons. And so it's unfortunate. We can't always keep everyone, but it still means that we've got 26 people who's in, and that will be speaking from South Africa. So, it's how it goes. And I've had to make a couple of calls to say, listen, you're not going anywhere. And luckily I was able to convince them. So, but because it is hard, Rianet, it's a proper program. There's a lot of sessions, a lot of content, a lot of prep work, a lot of getting together and things like that. It's not a pre-recorded thing. We do all the sessions live. It's international, so we have international coaches. Next year we'll have a South African coach as well. I was one of the coaches this year, but we'll have somebody that does speaking coaching from South Africa for a living, because at the moment everybody else is basically from Europe. So we are changing that next year as well. But one step at a time.
A lot of exciting stuff. So let's end. Any last comments?
I think I would just want to say, if there's one thing that you would want to support, then it's these people, that are really, they have the courage and the tenacity to see these things through, the courage to put their hands up and to go through this. And it's not sacrificing, but they are investing a lot into this and, to support this and to see what's possible. And then obviously I would want people to put their hands up next year. So we've already got a waiting list going. There are some articles and things that FAnews published for us. So thank you very much. And there is a link on there that you can go and put your name down. In September, the applications will open, and by December, you'll know if you're in for next year. But come and see what it's about and join us. And, for me, it's all about just making everything better. So I want to lift the entire profession and industry, as much as we possibly can. And this is a big way. The more we can get our message out there in an impactful way, the right way, then, we can definitely make that difference. So, I'm just want to, please come and support.
Thank you, Francois. It's great what you do for the industry, and the passion is real. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Rianet.
This is Rianet Whitehead speaking to Francois du Toit.